By 1977, Jim Jones had become a problem for the people who once protected him. Too many defectors, too many reporters, too many tapes. The solution? Ship the entire experiment to a remote corner of Guyana and run it off the books. What happened next was not a socialist utopia. It was the largest live field test of mind control technology the CIA ever attempted. Welcome back to the Stateless Standard. This is part 2, Jonestown, the jungle laboratory, and the congressman who walked straight into the kill zone. Officially, Jonestown was an agricultural mission of 1,000 idealistic Americans. Reality: a fenced compound with watchtowers, a private armed security force, and a public address system that never shut off. Jones slept 4 hours a night, doped on barbiturates and amphetamines, broadcasting paranoia for the other 20. Medical records later seized 11,000 doses of Thorazine, enough to chemically lobotomize the entire population twice over. Sensory-deprivation boxes. Suicide drills called white nights. Children forced to drink unidentified liquids while adults watched. Curious detail: the pharmacy was run by Dr. Lawrence Schacht, whose research specialty was chemical agents that could alter behavior without leaving traces in autopsy. Even more curious, Schacht's predecessor in the Temple Medical Program was a direct relative of the Layton family, one of the few white elite couples in Jonestown whose patriarch had been a U.S. Army biowarfare specialist at Dugway Proving Ground. The same Dugway that tested LSD on unwitting soldiers under MK-Ultra. Coincidence? The ruling class doesn't do coincidences. Jonestown wasn't just a mind control petri dish, it was a paramilitary staging area. Survivors described nightly weapons training with M16s and AKs. The Red Brigade, security detail, practiced jungle patrols and hostage rescue drills, skills useful for the CIA's growing war in Angola. Guyana's Prime Minister Forbes Burnham, kept in power by CIA coups, received a cut of Jonestown's forced labor produce and, more importantly, a quiet mercenary pipeline. Temple members signed powers of attorney and wills, leaving everything to the Soviet Union. Useful propaganda if the experiment ever needed to be blamed on Moscow. Meanwhile, Jones bragged on tape about CIA contacts and threatened to expose them if the agency ever turned on him. Blackmail cuts both ways. Until it doesn't. 1978. Congressman Leo Ryan, California Democrat, fierce critic of the CIA, receives desperate notes smuggled out by Temple relatives. "Help us. We are prisoners." Ryan had already co-authored the Hughes-Ryan Amendment, forcing the agency to notify Congress before launching covert ops. He was on the House Intelligence Committee. He was asking the wrong questions. November 14, 1978, Ryan flies to Guyana with reporters, defectors' families, and a simple demand: "Let me speak to anyone who wants to leave." Jones stalls, threatens, then finally allows the visit. During the 3-day inspection, dozens quietly ask Ryan to take them home. On November 18th, at tiny Port Katuma airstrip, 2 planes wait. As the defectors board, a tractor-trailer rolls up. The Temple gunmen open fire with automatic weapons. Ryan and 4 others are murdered execution style, some shot over 20 times with expanding dum-dum rounds banned by the Geneva Convention. The pilot radios, "They're killing a congressman on the ground." Curious, the U.S. Embassy's Deputy Chief of Mission, Richard Dwyer, listed in the CIA's own internal directory, was standing right there. He survives untouched. On the famous death tape, you hear someone shout, "Get Dwyer out of here!" Funny how the one confirmed agency officer walks away without a scratch. Ryan's assassination was not a spontaneous act of a madman. It was the trigger event. Within hours, the White Night suicide rehearsal became the final performance. But that's for part 3. What matters here is the pattern. A troublesome congressman who threatened CIA autonomy flies into a remote black site run by a long-term asset. He is lured with promises of transparency, surrounded, and eliminated. The same week the story breaks, the bodies are already being loaded onto C-141s. Evidence vanishes. Autopsies are blocked. The cover story writes itself. Crazy cult, Kool-Aid, end of discussion. Except the bodies told a very different story. One the powerful made sure almost nobody ever heard. Next time, the forensic evidence that proves it was mass murder, the injections, the missing cyanide, the escape theories, and why the truth is still classified 45 years later. If part 1 made you suspicious and part 2 made you angry, part 3 will make you question everything you were ever told about who really runs this world. Subscribe and ring the bell. The torch is still burning. This is the Stateless Standard.